Astrology is just simply a language, and astrologers are essentially cosmic linguists. Think about it. What is language but patterns, right? Sounds that are assigned to letters that, when strung together, create words, and then string those words together to get sentences, and now you have messages. And astrology is no different. You have planets that have certain meanings, and when placed in certain parts of the sky, have different meanings than their original meanings. And when you connect them by aspect or transit to other planets, string them all together, you get messages. There are many different people, cultures, beliefs on this planet. And we all speak different languages, and our differences make us incredibly beautiful. But just because one person speaks French and another speaks Italian doesn't mean that they don't have the same words to create the same idea, to interpret the things that the other person is trying to say to them. Much like with all of the different astrologies on the planet. The Western tropical astrology that many of us study and promote, educate, use, practice on this app is not the only one. There's Vedic, there's sidereal, there's Chinese astrology. The Mayans had their own astrological system. The Egyptians had a system. The Celts had a system, a druid system with 13 different animals. And yet they all came together to convey the language of the cosmos and how it affects, impacts, explains, describes, predicts what is happening here on this plane, right? And just like our languages, our cultures, our ideas, our styles, our fashions, all of the things that make a culture has borrowed and gifted certain elements to other cultures, so has astrology, right? Let's take the Romance languages, for example. What started out as vulgar Latin wound up transitioning into French and Italian and Portuguese and Spanish. It's similar to the area where like ancient Hellenistic astrology happened. And it combined in a lot of ways with the already existing Vedic astrology. There was a sharing of systems within both of these astrological methods that have trickled down to today, much like these languages have also kind of shifted and changed and borrowed from one another. If you listen to all of those languages, there are a lot of words that sound very similar to each other and mean the same thing but are different. All that being said, we don't need to argue over which systems are better. We don't need to argue over whether or not Placidus is far more superior because it's more psychologically nuanced in a natal chart versus whole sign or equal house. We don't need to argue over whether or not outer planets, modern planets, can be used for house rulership or not. If you want to do these things, fine. You are the person on the other end of the conversation between yourself and the cosmos. And if that's the way that the cosmos makes sense to you, communicates to you, then use that. It's beautiful. Anyone that is striving to understand the universe, the gods, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, is beautiful. And we don't need to argue over whether or not you're speaking French or Spanish or Portuguese or Italian. We just have to be grateful that you're making an effort to understand. So maybe let's stop arguing about it.